In the game of Street Fighter 6, there is certainly a lot to learn when it comes to leveling up as a player, but ultimately, our goal is to rank up to become better players long term. So, for you beginners, in this video, we're going to provide 3 easy tips to rank up in Street Fighter 6. So let's get straight to it. All that being said, if you want to see more educational content like this down the road, then be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get into the first point. Now, because there is such a diverse array of characters in Street Fighter 6 to choose from, it can be overwhelming at times to decide on who you want to actually choose. But one of the best aspects of Street Fighter 6 comes down to its character guides, which allows you to pretty much select from the entire character roster and really get a feel for how each character performs or just how they interact. And so this gives you an opportunity as a player to really choose carefully and pick that particular character that suits your playstyle. And once you've decided on the character, this is where it all matters the most. If you want to rank up very fast in Street Fighter 6, you'll want to invest your time into one character. Now, that isn't to say you can't have a secondary if need be, but in most cases, really learning to master one character can really help you long term, as it gives you more chances to develop yourself as a player. You're able to better grasp and understand your matchups, both your good and your bad ones. And most importantly, it can really drive your confidence to another level, because when you master something, it gives you more drive, it gives you more optimism, and just overall, it makes you just a well-rounded player. Now, of course, you may end up picking a character that may not be great right now, but that should never deter you from sticking with that character, because over the course of Street Fighter, there are always going to be changes to the roster, whether they're good or they're bad, but that should never stop you from playing the character you love the most. So that's my first tip. Stick to one character, learn the ins and outs of that character, spend your time in training mode learning what combos this character can do against the cast, what your pros and cons are, and from there, you can move on to the next step. So once you finally come around to grasping your character's ins and outs, you'll need to start studying your VODs. Your VODs, or your matchups rather, are really, really important, as it really does help you to figure out what works and what doesn't work against specific characters. Failure to doing so will ultimately lead you into situations where you're just primarily guessing what the opponent's doing, rather than trying to actually make good reads and predicting what the enemy wants to do. And so as a new player, as a beginner, you really want to go into your CFN, look at your replays, and really just ask yourself questions like, what was I doing right? What was I doing wrong? How can I improve? And what are some ways that I can maximize profits, let's say off of a drive impact or a drive rush? Was I optimizing here, or did I drop a combo there? You know, these are questions you can ask yourself as you're watching your VODs, because doing that will, for one, again, boost your confidence, because the more you understand what you're doing wrong and you learn to correct those wrongs, you'll feel better about yourself. Your self-esteem will increase and you'll feel more motivated to continue playing, versus just jumping into a game, doing random things and expecting a result, but the result isn't what you desired. And then you end up not playing the game, or you end up thinking, oh, well, it's the game that's the problem, or it's the character that's the problem. No, it's you that's the problem. You're the one holding yourself back. And so to prevent that from happening, you need to be really honest with yourself and realize that Street Fighter 6 is a game of longevity. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And so the longer you spend really honing your skills, really honing your combos, making sure you're not dropping things, again, all of this can come through watching your replays. And through that consistency, you will see much faster growth and, again, easy rank up in this game. The last tip that I feel will help you to rank up easily in Street Fighter 6 is to stop guessing and start predicting. Now, I've gone into this in more detail with regards to footsies in my previous video, so be sure to check that out for footsies. But the whole basis around predicting versus guessing is that when you are predicting an enemy, you are essentially making a read knowing that the opponent is going to do something that you want them to do. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you are playing a zoning character, you're playing Guile, and you're throwing sonic booms, and your goal as Guile is to essentially control space. You're trying to deny the enemy space, but by doing that, you're also forcing the enemy to do predictable things. Jumping in, wasting meter, using drive parry, so on and so forth. And so as you get better with learning how to predict the enemy, it'll be easier for you to punish predictable patterns. So when you guess, guessing is really random. And you don't want to be a random player, because if you're just doing random things in the game, oftentimes you're going to get punished and you're not going to know why. And it's because you're trying to guess what the opponent is doing. And when you're guessing, it means you lack knowledge. Because every time you're guessing something, you're putting yourself in a mental mix-up, right? You're thinking, okay, so are they going to do this or are they going to do that? If you're constantly having to think about what the options are versus you knowing what the potential option can be because you've done enough homework, then you'll start to see greater rewards as you know for yourself as a player, because now you're not relying on this random outcome. You're relying now on knowledge. You're relying more on your understanding. And as a result of that, you will see quicker growth as a player. You'll see your ranking go up a lot faster as a player, because you're not jumping into every matchup just guessing what the opponent's going to do. You're going into every matchup knowing the possibilities, knowing what to think about as far as the process of elimination. So you just, as my example earlier with Guile, the options could be they use drive rush, they use drive impact, they jump in. Now, all of these processes in your mind can then be eliminated one by one the more your opponent starts to, again, become predictable. And as they become predictable, then your game becomes a lot easier. And now you can play in your comfort zone because the enemy is giving you all the answers you're looking for, and you can capitalize and reap the rewards. So hopefully these 3 easy tips to rank up for beginners has helped you and has given you some inspiration to do better. I hope to see you on the high ranks someday in Street Fighter 6. But until then, keep training, New Warriors. We'll see you folks on the next one. Take care and peace out.